welcome to or welcome back to my channel. My name is Celeste and I'm here today to welcome you to a reading wrap-up as well as a December TBR. So I'm just gonna get into a little bit about where I've been. Honestly, I just really haven't wanted to do anything like the past couple weeks, or honestly the past couple months, like, let's be real. So I've been feeling like really burnt out and that makes me not want to do anything. So I just kind of have it. I've been reading, I just haven't been filming anything or doing much of anything in regards to being productive besides for school, which I have to do because I'm paying for it. Hopefully December will bring a little bit more content and I'll be back? Question mark? Who knows? Anyway, this month I read 7 books and I also DNF'd one, so I'm gonna count that too. And we're just gonna get right into it. The first book I read this month, or in November, was Conversations with Friends by Sally Rooney. This was read for a book discussion group at a local bookstore that I go to. It's also a cafe. And if you know me, I love coffee, so of course I wanted to try this out, try this discussion out. It was my first one with them, so yeah. Basically this book follows Frances and her friends, the relationships she develops and how they change over time. It is not a book that is like super heavy with plot, so if you want plot in a book, do not pick this up. It's really just about the characters and how they develop and stuff like that. Personally, I really enjoyed this one. I feel like I connected with the main character a lot. In some instances, like the way she thinks, how she analyzes things, because I do that a lot. It's one of my faults. Overall though, I liked the characters and how they are not good people in this book. They are pretty bad. The way they talk to each other, how they interact with each other, not good. Rooney just made everything feel very real, I think is like the biggest conversation with this book. Also, the commentary and representation of endometriosis in this book is really good. I thought it's not really discussed a lot in a lot of media, so to hear about it, something that women struggle with, I thought was really good. The next book I read was Star Daughter by Shveta Thakrar. I'm not really gonna go into this one that much because I enjoyed it, but it was just okay. It wasn't like the greatest thing I've ever read in my entire life. It was just okay. But basically it follows this girl. She is half human and half star, and her mother left when she was young, and her mother is a full star. So basically, as she's a teenager, she gets a calling from the heavens, which is where her family of stars lives, and she goes up there and she has to try to help someone who she accidentally hurt. And the only way she can do that is with something that the stars can provide. The romance in it was cute, but overall the plot was just okay. Like, nothing really stuck out. Some of it kind of didn't make a whole lot of sense, but it was good for what it was, entertainment. After that, I read XOXO by Axio, and this one was just another okay read. I thought I would like it more because it does include K-pop, which is something I'm very into right now, but unfortunately it was just okay. Basically follows this girl who is a cello prodigy, and then one night at her uncle's karaoke bar, she runs into this guy, and they basically go on this little spontaneous adventure together, and then he just disappears, and then she is brought to Korea so that she can go to this fine art school, and lo and behold, the guy is there, and turns out he is a K-pop idol, and not only that, he's a very famous K-pop idol from a very famous K-pop group, and basically just follows their relationship and how it develops over time. I think the reason I didn't end up liking it as much as I thought I would is because of the ending. It's kind of ambiguous. It ends very abruptly, like doesn't have a very good ending in my opinion. I didn't really care for how it ended, and I think the sequel follows 2 other characters in this in this book, and that doesn't, like, maybe it'll go into these two characters' relationship, but I don't know. I just wanted a better ending. On my Kindle, I read Tress of the Emerald Sea by Brandon Sanderson. One was pretty good. It's not the first Brandon Sanderson that I've read, but it's the first one that I finished. I'm reading Way of Kings, and it's very long. But basically this book is like if The Princess Bride was told through the point of view of a girl. And it's about Tress, who basically has to travel very far to find her love, Charlie. He really does name. And it's basically her travels, how she develops over time. And I really like the world that she lives on. It's very interesting. The spores are very interesting, even though we only see like a handful of them. I'd like to know more about what other spores can do. And I really like the way that Tress developed over the course of this book. I feel like she changed a lot throughout it, and it was just pretty good. I really liked it. The next book I read was also on my Kindle, and it is This Time It's Real by Anne Liang. This one was pretty cute. It follows this girl who has basically written up this like story, and it's all fake. It's about her romance, and it goes viral on the internet, and people obviously really like it, and they're like, oh, who's the guy, and she knows this guy who goes to her school. He is a famous actor, and she's like, hey, how about we fake date and I'll help you do this thing? And he agrees, and it's basically just following their relationship, how it develops. I've said this a lot. But I thought it was really cute. I love fake dating, and the characterization in this novel was pretty good. Like, there were times when I really connected with the main character, and then there were other times where I was like, girl, get your shit together. Like, what are you doing? Overall, I really liked it, and the main characters, I thought they were both really good. The banter was good, and I really liked it. After that, I read this chonky one, Needful Things by Stephen King. It basically is about the grand opening of this shop called Needful Things in this small town in Maine. And the guy that is selling the things there, he basically curates all these things, and people come in and they're like, oh my god, this is something that I've wanted and needed forever. And he's like, okay, you can have it for as much money as in your pocket, but he's like, but you need to play a prank on someone first. Well, at some point after you purchase this thing. And they're like, well, okay. And so take that, shit happens. Obviously it's more than that because it's Stephen King. I really like Stephen King's writing style and the way he writes people, especially bad people. He writes them very well. I feel like they're the worst people you could ever read about, and like, why does he write about bad people like this? I don't know. Like, he does not fuck around when it comes to horrible people in his books. I also really liked how he wrote one of the main characters in her battle with arthritis, and another main character, his grief and how he deals with that, or how he dealt with that in the book. I thought both of those were written really well. The only thing that really like put me off about this book was the amount of characters in it. There were like so many characters. I'm like, can we just follow like one or two people, please? But then the other thing is that this book is almost 700 pages long, and I don't know how I'm gonna get through it or The Stand, because I have both of those on my TBR, my physical TBR. And while this wasn't like a super hard read, it was very long, but also not as dense as Way of Kings. So maybe it won't be impossible to get through it or The Stand. Finally, I read, oh my god, Normal People by Sally Rooney. This one, it didn't hit as much as Conversations with Friends. It follows Marianne and Connell, and you wouldn't have guessed, but their relationship and how it develops over like a small period of their life, like a couple years. I didn't really like the way this one was written. I feel like every chapter was a time skip, but then within that chapter, there was a time skip back to the past from the previous chapter. And it's like, why can't you just go into what you're talking about in this chapter, in that past chapter? It skipped around a lot, and I didn't really like that. I also didn't really care for the characters as much as I did in Conversation with Friends. I feel like I didn't connect with them as much, and even though it was mostly about those two, I felt like it didn't really get into depth about either of them. Not as much as it did about Frances in Conversations with Friends. I did enjoy it, but obviously not as much as the first Sally Rooney book I read. And then one that I didn't finish, but I'm gonna count anyway, is Shadow of Night by Deborah Harkness. I only got 17% of the way in, and every page was horrible. I said what I said. I know it's a very beloved series, but the first one was kind of unbearable, and then obviously I didn't finish the second one, so that was also unbearable. I feel stupid reading this book. Like, a majority of it, of what I did read, I didn't really understand. Matthew was unbearable in this book. He was very annoying. He was very dismissive of Diana's feelings on autonomy. And I realized this book takes place in the 1500s, so obviously women don't have as much say as it did in present time. Just because it takes place in the 1500s doesn't mean that he can treat Diana like shit. Also, there were like so many characters introduced at once, and every time I read a different name, I was like, I don't know who this is. Like, who is this person? Why isn't it just about Diana and Matthew? Overall, it was just very confusing, and I didn't really like the characters, so fuck me, I guess. Now we're gonna get into the TBR portion of this video. I do have 3 books that I'm going to continue on to this month. So I do have Way of Kings, Green Rider, and Tiger's Curse. I did not get to, well, I got to Way of Kings. I got like 100 more pages into this one, so still enjoying it so far. I did not get to Green Rider or Tiger's Curse, so those 2 will be carried over to this month. And I think I'll pick 4 more books. 4 or 5. I think I'm gonna do 5. I'm feeling ambitious. So I'm gonna pick 5 books that I'm going to try to get to this month, as well as these 3. All right, here's my pumpkin full of slips. I don't know what that says, so. Ooh, Wuthering Heights. Okay. I don't know where that is on my bookshelf. So it says Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. I don't know much about this book other than that it's a classic. Yeah, I feel like this is kind of fitting for December. It's more fall-y, I would say, but it also can fit into winter, so yeah. It's gonna be a trend that I don't really know what my books are about, but that's okay. I don't know what that says. I can't read it backwards. The Only Good Indians by Stephen Graham Jones. So this is a horror. I believe it's also... No, I think that's his other series. This one's not a slasher. The description leaves very little, but it basically follows 4 Indian boys after something happened and then their struggle with it. I really like horror, so I really wanted to get into Stephen Graham Jones, so I'm really excited to get into this one. All right, let's get into number 3. As you can see, I'm not even looking. Green. Dr. Sleep. Another horror, another Stephen King. And this is the sequel to The Shining, which I have read. So this is a sequel to The Shining. I think it takes place in Danny's adulthood. I have seen the movie and I really like it because it's Ewan McGregor and you cannot go wrong with that man. I love that man. But I'm super excited for this one. I love horror and I love Stephen King so far from what I've read. And I'm excited to get back into The Shining. Why couldn't all these horror books have been picked in fucking October when it's Halloween season, spooky season? Girl, I don't know what that says. Fruits Basket, a manga. Okay. That one should be really, I should be able to read that in one sitting. Yay. I really like Fruits Basket. Kyo has my heart. So this follows a girl and she gets taken up by this little gaggle of men who, when they're hugged by the opposite sex, transform into animals. Although it's not just men, it's also women. But yeah. I'm super excited for this one. I've been saying that for all of them, but I've been meaning to read more manga. It's not like my forte. I only really have a couple series that I've been reading. But I've needed to continue this for a while. All right, last one. Let's hope it's a good one. I don't know if I should pick a specific color or not. We'll go orange. Oh, this is a long name. I don't know. Oh! Oh! I wanna cry. I read this. I don't know if I ever finished the series. I think I only really read the first and second, maybe. It is the Mysterious Benedict Society. It is a middle grade, and it's basically like a mystery about this group of kids. Maybe I should get the book out. It's about this group of kids, I think in an orphanage, and they have like not abilities, but like they have skills, and they're basically like, they're trying to solve a mystery. And I just remember reading this in middle school, and I really enjoyed it. Maybe even elementary school. I don't know how old it is. Yeah, 2007 is when it came out. So I think I was in elementary school when I read this. So it gives me a lot of nostalgia. So I'm really excited about this one. I know I keep saying that, but I really am. The only bad thing is that it got set damaged. But it's still beautiful. So here are the new additions to my TBR. I'm not sure if I'll be able to get through all of them, but we'll see. I have a little faith in myself. So yeah, if you got this far into the video, leave a snowflake emoji, and tell me what you are reading, if you're reading anything, and I will see you in another video. Bye.